A lot of you are sick. I know a lot of you are complaining that things are lingering and it doesn't matter what you take and it's not going away and you have COVID or then it's not showing up as COVID. I get it. I've been sick for over a month and I don't know why. I just know that we need to be talking about it more.
I agree. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, let's discuss.
That's how you figure things out. All right. So I have the person who is part of the community that is going to get us to a better place. Dr. William Lee. I have been friendly. You've been helping me from the beginning. You were one of the first people to ever say long haul to me, or that, well, maybe this is why. When I was trying to get better and I was like, I don't understand what's going on. I don't know where my keys are. You were saying, we're seeing this. So long haul, long COVID, whatever you want to call it. Do you believe now, as you're developing your understanding, that there is something that we have to be looking at?
Absolutely. Long COVID is what we experience for people 4 weeks later after having an initial bout with COVID. They're not better, and they're not better in over 100 different ways, and everyone is a little bit different. We now know at the cellular level what's actually happening is kind of scary if you actually take a look at it, and the number of people affected range from less than 1% to 30%.
Actually, StatCan study shows, which was recently published, that the risk increases with reinfection. So there's a 38% risk of developing long C by your third infection. And these infections are cumulative and compounding, which is consistent with what Dr. Zaid Al-Ali has found with his long COVID research.
We haven't pinned it down yet.
At this time, there are 6 primary theories of long COVID with substantial evidence to support any of these claims. Number 1, persistent inflammation. 2, reactivation of pathogens. 3, microbiome alterations. 4, autoimmunity. 5, cell dysmetabolism. And 6, persistent infections.
The onion to look at what the problems might be.
So you don't think this is, look, people get sick. You're getting older. Sometimes it takes longer. Don't look to slap a label on everything.
Listen, most people who experience COVID today, it's a different disease than in 2020.
That is false. 2020 produced the first round of long haulers. We are seeing record numbers of infections globally. Hospitals are still being overwhelmed with acute infections. It's definitely not mild. It's systemic. And the only thing that's really changed is we have less mitigations and less data acquisition.
Most people have mild symptoms and they get better. But there is a substantial portion of people who don't get better. And in fact, some people who get tragically worse. I personally know people who have become incapacitated mentally, physically, emotionally. It's overwhelming, and it's actually kind of changed their lives completely.
Now, the next step is, okay, so you had COVID. You got over it. You thought you were better. Yeah. But then, and this is really where I come into it, but you don't respond to illnesses the same way after that. It seems like, I get anything that comes into my house. I now get, and it didn't used to be like that.
So sorry to interrupt again, but the SARS-CoV-2 infection causes damage to our immune system. There are multiple studies that indicate that there's a loss of immune cells, that immune cell dysfunction occurs, that reactivation of other viruses occur, new autoimmune conditions, and more severe infections to other pathogens that result.